Welcome to the Wednesday Match Play, your weekly connection to the biggest and best brands in golf. On this show you will learn more about the latest golf fashion trends, hear from LPGA and PGA Tour players, get advice on planning your next golf getaway, and much more. Broadcasting live from Palm Desert, California, now on the tee, Ricky Potts.
It is 33 degrees here in Tampa. Gabe is out on course with the Ping G440K driver, the latest and greatest from one of the most respected brands in golf. Ping is calling this their most forgiving driver yet, but we're not taking their word for it. We're putting it to the test. Before Gabe takes it out on course, let's take a closer look.
Experience the spirit of St. Andrews with Eden Mill. From our award-winning gins and whiskies to our craft beers, every sip tells a story of Scotland's rich tradition and modern innovation. Handcrafted with passion and precision, Eden Mill is more than a drink. It's a celebration of heritage, flavor, and the art of distilling. Perfect for toasting life's moments, big or small. Discover Eden Mill today and raise a glass to Scotland. Eden Mill, raise a glass to Scotland. Learn more at edenmill.com.
GolfCask is a lifestyle community and media brand that blends golf, whiskey, and cigar culture into one experience for enthusiasts who enjoy the camaraderie, stories, and rituals around these passions. At its core, it is built around the 19th hole feeling, the part of golf that happens after the round, where people replay shots, swap stories, and unwind together. This episode of the Wednesday Match Play podcast, brought to you by Eden Mill St. Andrews, Brian gives us an overview of GolfCask, shares where the idea came from, and dives into his passion for whiskey. He talks about the bottles he has at home, what he has paid for a single bottle, details behind GolfCask's interactive map, and what it means to be a Certified Bourbon Steward. We also get into the certification process, his time on the course with a focus on short game and putting, and a preview of the Challenge Series. This was a delicious conversation, and it was an honor to have Brian on the show. Let's tee off. Man, I am pumped for this conversation because we've got you're doing everything cool, and it's with drinking, and it's with smoking cigars, and it's playing golf, and it's traveling, and you're just living the life, man. But hey, I am so pumped for this conversation. I'm glad that we connected and we're able to do this today. But how's everything going on for you, and what's going on with you today?
Oh, everything's great. We just got hit with our big ice storm, so we still have it hasn't gone anywhere. We got 6 inches of snow, about 4 or 5 inches of sleet, and now I know it's like to walk in the Arctic because it is literally frozen solid for a week. We haven't gotten above 22 degrees here in the Mid-Atlantic, which is nuts for us. But it gave me a lot of time to sit around the house and do a lot of whiskey tasting and smoke a few cigars, even though my wife says I can't smoke in the house, but I sit by the door and crack the door open. So I find a way, like all great men, we find a way.
Well, you talk about cold, and I'm from Indiana originally, but I haven't seen snow outside of looking up at the mountains. I'm here in Southern California. It's 83 degrees today. So
yeah,
you want to come visit, you just let me know.
We're 22, I think, is a high.
Well, for anyone who might be new to your world, I mean, let's talk about GolfCask. Where did the idea come from? Where are you based? Obviously in the frozen tundra of the East Coast. Just give me a 10,000-foot overview of who you are and what this is all about.
Yeah, the frozen tundra. We're based out of Virginia. I'm a golf coach by trade. Been coaching college. I coached college golf. I coached a lot of touring professionals for a while. Got into the sports data science wise, created a data science company. But I was in Ireland doing a golf trip with some friends, and we were teaching, and we were sitting back in this little snug in Ireland, drinking whiskey, chatting with all the people that are taking the golf school with us. And I'm like, why the heck are we not doing this for a living? Like it's whiskey, it was cigars, it was fun, it was adventure, it was everything that, as I've gotten older in life to enjoy, it was all right there. So that was the catalyst of GolfCask. And I'm Brian Bailie, by the way, the founder of GolfCask. So basically I took all my passions, golf, whiskey, cigars, and travel, and then created a community around that. So that's our 5 pillars. And that's what we do every day. I wake up every morning researching cigars, whiskey, and golf. It's not working for a living.
That might like that's a dream right there, right? Like I wake up. I mean, granted, I work in private clubs, so I'm dealing with similar things. I just got golf. Like here, I
Yeah.
mean, my God, what a cool. I mean, we got so much to talk about today. We're going to talk about whiskey and cigars, but before Golf Cask became a brand, where
Mhm.
did you find your passion for whiskey? Where did that begin? And why whiskey,
Uh,
not gin? Why whiskey, not vodka or
yeah.
other spirits that might exist?
Well, most of the clear spirits I'm not a huge fan of. I hate juniper, so gin is usually out for me. There's a couple gins I like, but I do like tequila. But other than that, like vodka is just a clear liquid, doesn't really have any flavor or taste. I think whiskey is kind of the neat one because the way the rules of whiskey are written, you can only proof it up to about 160 out of, or basically 160 proof or about 80% alcohol, so that it preserves the grain flavor, right? Vodka, it strips everything. So whiskey, you get to keep some of that grain flavor, which is kind of unique to a lot of grain whiskeys or grain spirits. But COVID was probably my big. I enjoyed whiskey up until COVID, but I really didn't appreciate whiskey until COVID when I was locked down for 2 years and come to find out that the liquor stores were essential workers. And so I got to know my essential workers really well, and we started to buy different whiskeys and started to create cocktails. Enjoyed that. Started stripping back the cocktail components and just started drinking whiskey neat. So then it just, at that point, I started to research whiskey. I'm one of these guys. Once I find something, I just go all in. So I started doing all this research on whiskey. And then I started to see parallels between whiskey and golf. Very Western culture. The parallels of the rise and the falls inside of both industries is absolutely funny how they mirror each other. So I was like, wow, there's a whole lot to this. And then that's kind of, once again, one of the entry points. But I would say COVID was by far my big intro into whiskey. Before that, I drank whiskey for different intentions. Now I sit and drink, and a pour takes me 30 minutes. Where back in the day, it was in a glass, you throw it down and go, "Oh my God, that's awful," and it burns and it hurts. Oh my God, why did I do that? So I've learned to appreciate whiskey much more, and I've gotten to learn and know a lot of the distillers out there and get their story. So it's just been a fun collaborative and whiskey. And yeah, like I said, there's nothing better than a plain gray box shows up to the house and there's 2 bottles of whiskey from some manufacturer. They're like, "Hey, why don't you drink this and share it with your people?" I mean, it's like Christmas. I'm like, oh yeah. So whiskey by far is the most fun of the three that I enjoy the most.
That's cool. And I almost ended this call when you said you didn't like gin, because gin, I'm a gin fan. I just love lip sucking dry London gins.
Ah, I can't,
Oh,
I
so
can't do
good.
it, man. That juniper bear, it repulses me.
All right. Well, I like whiskey too, so I'm
My
gonna keep
wife
this
loves gin. We
conversation
got a
going.
bunch of gin in the house, but I can't touch it.
So whiskeys, I mean, there's so many different whiskeys out there, and I mean, some are good, some are great, and some I don't care for. There are some popular brands. We might talk about one of them that is a limited release that comes out every year that I don't even really like. But what are some of your personal favorites right now? You got anything that you're just your go-tos?
My go-tos. Well, I got tons of them. I've actually really gotten into a lot of the craft distillers. I think they're a lot more fun. Now you can go Kentucky; they make great stuff, and it's consistent and whatnot. But we were just at Devil's Due, which is a small distillery in West Virginia, and they let us do a barrel tasting with them. So we had 4 barrels. The first year that they've had 5-year-old barrels, so we got to take it straight out of the barrel. And they had a bourbon with, they called it the twin malt. It had malted barley and malted rye. So the malted rye gave you almost Scotch floral notes with it, which was kind of interesting. Didn't get the big spice because it was malted. It actually changed it. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Wild Turkey, rare breed is probably my go-to in the winter and the fall. Just a pleasant bourbon. Can't go wrong there. I also love up in California what is it? The Empire Group. They do some really, really good stuff. The Pipe Dream, and their rise up there are spectacular as well. The cool thing, whiskey's kind of in a renaissance. Well, it's kind of dying again. It's kind of on the tail end of the renaissance, but there is so much spectacular whiskey out there. And there's basically a flavor for anybody's palate. Leopold Brothers, which is out of Colorado is probably my favorite bourbon right now. They're actually straight bourbon. Bottle and bonded is spectacular. It has a mint flavor, which you don't normally get out of a bourbon, so it's pretty cool. So the fun part is there's so many versions of whiskey now, and there's it's just, as a whiskey lover, there's just so much to sample and drink out there. I'm a kid in a candy shop.
You talk about drinking whiskeys and doing, visits to distilleries. I did I don't even know what you call it, but it was a distillery that hadn't even released a bottle yet because they were so young. They were a 5-year-old distillery, and they had a tasting where they had all 5 years. So you tasted literally year one, year two, year three, and it was awesome. And like to think about, and they still haven't released their first bottle for sale yet. They took that much time to be able to get it to where it's ready to even put into a bottle and sell. So talking about tastings, when you go to these distilleries, what are you looking for, and what makes a good tasting for a guy like you that's obsessed with this juice?
For me, I just like I like complexity. So there's got to be something more than, I love Buffalo Trace is a great whiskey. Everyone loves it. It's a great whiskey, but you get caramel, you get vanilla, and that's kind of it. And it's just kind of flat, and it's not offensive. It's a good whiskey, but it's just boring. It's just boring. So what I look for is some complexities. I like to find different flavors and and to me, again, a whiskey is when I sip it, man, immediately after the first sip, it's painful. We know it. It's high proof alcohol. Second sip is really where you're going to start pulling in your flavor notes, man. I just love that whiskey. That's different. That I wasn't ready for. And I think that component of always being surprised, I love going to taste new. I have favorites that I always go and pour to, but I love going to a whiskey bar and trying something I've never tried before, or going to a different distillery and saying, what you got? I think that newness, it's like golf to me. I'm a member at a club. I play there a lot, but I love going to a different club and see what my skills set up versus another golf course and things like that. But I think that new, fun, exciting, I've never had this whiskey, know nothing about it. I do not do whiskey notes. So I do not go research whiskey before I go taste it, because I don't want to be thinking about what another person thinks about a whiskey. I just want to be able to drink that whiskey. So I go in blind as I can go and just sit back and just be surprised by the craft, and the story of the whiskey is really what makes it special.
You talk about new. So my wife and I are big craft beer people. We literally travel the world drinking beer, and we use Untapped to track our beers, which is a solution that allows you to tick the beers that you're drinking, and there's gamification to it. And to your point, I would rather drink a beer I've never had than to drink a beer that's the best beer I've ever had. And the people will say, "Hey, what's the best beer you've ever had?" Sure, I've got my top five. But it's like with golf. What's the best golf course you've ever played? The next one that I haven't played yet. And I
I
love
agree.
that you like newness, and kudos to you for that. And I would argue that the best beer that I've ever had is the next beer that I've never had that I didn't know existed. And it's the same thing with golf. And just I want to try new things. So kudos to you for that.
But yeah, no, it by far. I mean, I've been surprised. We went to this place in West Virginia, a little hole in the wall. Didn't even know it existed. My buddy had a farm up there. We were staying there. We just swung by out of the blue, and we were just awestruck by the whiskey that they were making. And just like craft distillers, or brewers, they're really popular in that 20-mile radius of the distillery. But after that, nobody knows who the heck they are. They're just one of 3,000 inside of the United States. So where my passion really for the whiskey side of it is trying to elevate these craft people and saying, hey, there's a really good whiskey here. So if you're running the 81 corridor in the Northeast and you're coming through West Virginia, like take 20 minutes and pull off here and give them a try. Or if you're like in different areas. So I think the craft experience is pushing the big boys to do different stuff, which is awesome, which makes their whiskey better. And it's kind of what the craft brewing business did, right? When we were kids, what was it? It was Michelob, Miller Lite, Budweiser, and then all of a sudden the crafts came, and then they gobbled up a bunch, but it also forced them to change and provide better service to their customers. So the distillers inside of the whiskey world are doing the same thing to the big boys in Kentucky.
How many bottles do you have? I mean, I'm counting. You can't see this at home for those listening. I've got 1, 2, 10, 12 bottles right behind you. How many bottles do you have in your collection at home?
Right now, I have 212 bottles on the wall, so it circles my entire basement. I did the math before I got on here. So if they stop selling whiskey today, and I did a 2 ounce pour for today to 6 years and basically 4 months, I would run out of whiskey.
That's
So
so
I can do
much
2 ounce
whiskey.
pour every day for 6 years and finally run out of whiskey.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have your whiskey on shelves there. Here in California, we can't do that. We have earthquakes. We had a couple of months ago, we had about 350 earthquakes in about a 24-hour span. Fun
Oh,
fact, there was three pretty big ones. I didn't even feel them. I was driving in one of them. The other one I was like getting ready for work. I'm like people are like, "Oh, 5.1 earthquake, 4.7 earthquake." I'm like, "Where?" I missed them.
I love California. Yeah, no, we don't. We've gotten one earthquake here in Central Virginia. It was about 5 years ago, and it was like a 4.2. And for us, that was like the world was gonna open up and eat us all. But yeah, we don't get hurt. We don't get many earthquakes here. The only big natural disaster we get are hurricanes. But other than that, and you know that's coming. So plus all my stuff's up off the floor, so if we're flooded, we're fine.
You're not worried about the floods. You're good. So with all those bottles, I mean, are you more of a collector or are you buying bottles to enjoy? Do you got any bottles that you've not even opened because of maybe the street value?
No, I don't do that. I believe bourbon is made to be drunk. So if there's a bottle on the shelf and we have people over and they're like, "Hey, I really want to try that one," just crack it open. Now, if I don't like you, I won't crack it open. But if you come to my house, I'm a firm believer whiskey's made to be drunk. So no, I'm not a big collector. I'd rather sit around with some good friends, crack a great bottle, and just have conversation. To me, is much more important than secondarily selling this down the line. 2 years from now, making a little bit of money off of it. I'd rather have the experience with the bottle opposed to being a middleman.
Well, whiskey is not cheap. Some of it is, and I mean, Jack's not bad for like just a grab and go. But I mean, what is the most you've ever paid for a single bottle?
Well, I usually set a limit at about most of my bottles will run anywhere from 50 to about $100. I would say is pretty standard for me. The most I've paid was my Mitchell's Toasted. It's a bottle that you can't find in the US because who knows. And I was actually in Ireland and they had an entire shelf of them, like literally like 100 of these bottles on the shelf. And I'm like, I've never seen this in the wild. So I actually bought a bottle over there and it's like $250. That's the most I spent there. I've had opportunities to do others, but there's so many good whiskeys between the 50 and $100 mark that you don't have to go chase these unicorn prices. There's so much good whiskey out there. Like you said, Jack Daniels, if you do Jack Daniels, their barrel strengths, they're spectacular for like $60 straight out of a barrel, really good flavor, high proofs. I mean, they're spectacular and they're like $60. So there's a lot of really, really good whiskeys between 50 and 100. Now, if you want to go chase the others, I sat down with a Whistle Pig Big Boss the other day. That's $600 a bottle. It was good. I can name a couple ryes at about $100 that I thought were just as good. So the danger of like anything, price doesn't always give you the best whiskey. Same with wine. Same with golf courses. Just because it's got a big price tag doesn't mean it's the best golf course or whatever you're going to play. So be forewarned that, marketing is a big tool, and the whiskey business is brilliant at it.
But let's talk about Pappy for a second because
Yeah.
Pappy, I mean, I'm never going to pay that kind of money for a single bottle. And I mean, I don't, not a chance. But there's a bar 2 miles down the road that's got it. It's 60
Mhm.
bucks an ounce, and I'll do that because
Yeah.
I mean, I think Pappy is just spectacular. Like, I mean,
Good.
kudos to Roger Kincaid, who is a good friend of mine. He's been on this podcast before. He was the first one to expose me to that, and I'll never forget that night when we had that. But maybe it was the couple of drinks we had before the conversation we were having, but that's one of the best liquids I've ever had on my palate.
Yeah. Pappy's is good. Do you remember what year Pappy's it was?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think one of we have a syndicate of 5 guys that we meet monthly and we drink whiskey, smoke cigars, and we do a bunch of blind tastings. One of our buddies like has Pappy's through the roof because he just before Pappy's was the superstar beverage that it is now. Back in the day, you could go to the different ABCs, put in the lottery, and then he would go inside and go, has anybody not collected their Pappy's? So he literally probably had about 12 cases of Pappy's in his basement, all the way back to the Stitzer Weller days. So you're talking, it's Buffalo Trace now, 15, 20 years. So this was Stetzel before that. So on the secondary market, you're talking thousands of dollars. And he's the same way. He goes, why am I going to sell this? Come in here, sit down. Let's enjoy this 15 or this 20-year-old Pappy, and we'll have a cigar and we'll talk and hang out. So again, yeah, Pappy is really good, but there's a lot of, MSRP for Pappy's, it's only $150. Secondary market gets a little crazy.
Yeah, they added zero to that.
Yeah, no, they can add multiple zeros at sometimes.
Well, out of all of the whiskeys that you've had over the years, I mean, if you had to pick one, is there one that's your all-time favorite? Your one go-to, price aside?
Oh, wow. One all-time.
I love how you're looking around your room. You're like, oh, maybe
I'm seeing if something's going to jog me. I would say I started with Irish whiskeys. So it's not a super expensive whiskey. It's probably going to cost you, again, right around that 100 point. Powers John Lane's cask strength, I absolutely love. So you're going to get a lot of those malty Irish whiskey notes, but you get a lot of bourbon notes. You get leather. You get a lot of that kind of bourbon appeal to it. I would say is one of my favorites. And I don't have a bottle of that right now. Thank God I'm going back to Ireland, because I don't think you can find it in the States very often. But I would say that's really good. George T. Stagg, we had it at our tasting the other night. George, really good whiskey. Another of the unicorns. You never find it on the shelves anywhere. But again, like I said, I really go back to, it's the one that I haven't had yet. It's the next one I'm getting ready to taste. I'm like, whoa, I can't believe this. That excites me more than like sitting down and having just a spectacular pour where I know it's going to taste like this.
Are there any whiskeys that you have not tried that you're out there hunting for?
Oh, there's so many. Buffalo Trace, kind of their antique collection from the E.H. Taylors that they release every year. I'm a Booker's fan. Booker's usually does a really good job. I'm Elijah Craig fan. So anytime you can kind of get the C series and their barrel picks, hard to find, but really good. The beauty of the whiskey industry, they're always coming out with new releases and new twists on everything that they do. So you're always on the hunt for something good. And it's amazing. Sometimes you end up at some really out of the way liquor store. Like, this is how bad I've gotten. Anytime I travel now, I always have to hit a liquor store. So it doesn't matter what state, what country I'm in. I'm like, I just need to go check it out. And I've actually found some really, really good whiskeys in some really weird spots in this world. And to me, it's kind of fun. So anytime we travel, my wife just shakes her head because she knows I'm going to spend a half a day one day, bouncing around probably 4 or 5 whiskey or liquor stores inside of our travel area.
What is the Greens and Grains Society, and how does that fit into the GolfCask ecosystem?
All right, Greens and Grain, we're just getting ready to kick this off. I'm finishing up the paperwork right now. What we're doing is we're taking GolfCask as a whole, and we're basically reaching out to small chapters. So it could be a golf club, it could be a cigar lounge, a pub, a distillery, or just 4 buddies sitting around the table going, hey, let's start a Greens and Grain Society. So it's going to be our society under GolfCask, where quarterly we want you to meet up. We as GolfCask will provide all the information on how to set up your quarterly meetup. We'll give you whiskey tasting guides, different flights to think about, some golf stuff to think about, par 3 courses, playing the course, just doing a golf school kind of thing. So basically what we're trying to do is create little pods all around the world where group of like-minded people that don't have to enjoy all of our passions. They might only enjoy golf or only cigars or only whiskey or a version of all 3. Get them to start to meet up, start to hang out. And then from that, we have some really cool ideas of where that's going. So once we get the Greens and Grain rolling, we're going to run some really cool events where the Greens and Grain member from all over the world will be able to come together and play golf, drink whiskey, smoke cigars, and meet new friends.
Is it true that the reason why there's 18 holes is because there's 18 shots in a bottle of scotch? Is there any truth to that myth?
They say no, but the math does work.
Well, if the maths, then I'm just gonna go ahead and go with that. Just saying.
I've read it and I've seen, yeah, no, but the math does work, so that is a possibility. And they used to say a shot of whiskey in the West was because a 38 caliber bullet cost you 5 cents or whatever, and that's what a whiskey was. So you could put a shot, you could put your actually 38 round on the bar, and they would take the actual shot and give you a shot. Whether that's true or not, I've seen it both ways, but it's a great story.
The GolfCask interactive map is a cool feature. Tell me more about that. I mean, is it focused on golf courses, distilleries, a mix of both?
It has all, well, I won't say all because golf courses are always coming and going, but there's roughly 15,000 golf courses in the US inside of that, and we do have it worldwide. We have 3,000 plus distilleries in the US. We also have cigar lounges. We also have pubs. So really where the map is going, and we're getting ready to put our members on there as well, because we are a community base inside of GolfCask. We want you to be able to land anywhere in the world, fire up your app, find a golf course, a distillery, a pub, a cigar lounge, whatever you really enjoy. You can fire up the app and find out what's near you. And of course, it'll be ranked by our members. So when you go in, you'll have an understanding of what you're about to get into. And then more so, like I said, in the future, once the members are on side the map, dealing with lawyers right now, trying to get the language right. We want, like I said, Ricky, if you're flying somewhere, you land and you got a half a day to kill. Hey, you can call up on the map, find a couple guys, say, hey, I'm going to be in town. You guys in for 9 holes in a pour somewhere? Reach out to them and then, hey, yeah, why not? Come on, we'll take care of you today. So again, what we're trying to build is a community, so that interactive map gives you the tools to basically find what you're looking for.
How are you drinking it? I mean, just straight 2 ounces in a glass? Do you put an ice cube in it? Like, does it depend on the bottle you're pouring? Splash of Coke? I'm kidding.
No. What I've learned about whiskey, drink it how you appreciate it. So most of the distillers I've met, almost all of them like their whiskey with ginger ale. I mean, disproportionately, they're like, I just drink it with ginger ale. For me, I drink neat to start. If it's a harsh whiskey, then I might add some water or maybe drop an ice cube, or there's certain whiskeys that just become cocktail whiskeys. Like I can't drink that by itself, but if we put a bunch of mixers in it, it'll be fine. But more than not, I try to drink every whiskey when I first get it neat. I want to see what it is. So neat is no ice, just room temperature, pour it in a glass, and kind of go through that experiment. And then, like I said, from there, I'll figure out, is it something that I would enjoy? There's a lot of whiskeys that I don't enjoy. You're just like, I don't like the flavor. I don't like it's got too much ethanol. It's young. It's harsh. So those, again, I don't mind somebody dropping a Coke in it. Now, if you're taking a George T. Stagg and you're putting tab in it, I might roll my eyes at you a little bit. But if that's the way you want to drink it, enjoy.
You got any unpopular opinions of a brand that people love and flock to that you don't care for?
No. Most brands they're diverse enough where I like certain segments of it. Like Jack Daniel's number 8, old number 8, it's terrible. It's sweet, it's syrup. I can't stand it. But again, if you go to the Jack's, their barrel proof lineup, it's spectacular. So Buffalo Trace is one. Again, we did a blind tasting, probably 2 weeks ago. Put it in a glass. I drank it. I couldn't taste anything. It was because we were drinking other whiskeys, so it kind of fell in the middle. So all the whiskeys we drank before that just neutralized any flavor. So I was shocked by Buffalo Trace. Just tasted like water to me. And, I got a little bit of caramel, a little vanilla on the nose. But when I sipped it, I was like, there's nothing here. So, the beauty of whiskey, there's so many types and there's so many people. Like I like scotches. I'm a Speyside. I'm a more of a Highlands kind of guy. I'm not a huge super peated fan, but I do enjoy peat every once in a while. So I kind of shy away from those. But my wife will sit down and drink she'll drink a peat monster in a second, a Compass box, and be like, this is the best thing ever. And I'm like, yeah, I beg to differ.
I want to literally pick up wet rocks and lick them when I'm drinking scotch. So I think your wife and I are gonna get along just fine.
Yeah, no, I have trouble with really, really peated whiskeys, and I have trouble with really, really smoked meats, right? Like I don't mind smoked meat, but if it's in the smoker for a very long time and it pulls a lot of that wood flavor, for me, I guess I'm just not a big fan. But my wife, no, what did I get her? Octomore, which is like the second highest peated whiskey on the planet. And she sat down and was like, "Oh, this is so good." And I'm like Johnny Walker Black with just a hint of smoke in the background. I'm like, that's getting a little hard.
That's awesome. When you talk about the golf cask life, what does that mean to you, and what does that lifestyle look like in practice?
No, I think the world's fast. Everything nowadays is fast. You got your phone scrolling, you're flipping. Everything we do is fast nowadays. Like you get information in a second. You can go into an AI, ask it a question, and it'll print out a 10-page article on why this is what it is. So I think what we're losing in all of that is we're losing that community, that sense of slowing down and having purpose. And that's why I love these three things together. Golf, it takes hour and a half to play 9 holes, hopefully 3 hours to play 18. God forbid if you're playing longer than that. A cigar, depending on, the Vitola and stuff, it can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half to smoke a cigar. To enjoy a good whiskey, you're talking 30 minutes. So kind of the lifestyle that we're kind of breeding is, hey, when you decide to slow it down, these are 3 great avenues to do that. And it's really funny because again, I'm getting older now. I'm in my early 50s. I only have so many laps around this orb. So part of me is like those moments of sitting down with friends, just kind of, and friends to be, and just getting to know them and hearing their stories and what that is really kind of the core of who we are as humans. And I think we forget that sometimes. So I would say the golf cask lifestyle is just learn to slow down, be present. When we do have our syndicate meetups here, we actually have a burlap bag that we put all of our phones in, and we just stick it off in the corner. So we're going to be present for the next hour. We're going to do a whiskey tasting. We're going to smoke a cigar. We're going to tell stories. And that's all we're going to do for the next hour. And then if you want to go scroll your phone later, that's fine. But I think that lifestyle of just communicating and being present with other human beings is really important. And I think a skill that we're losing as a collective civilization. And I'm trying to pull them back.
You are a certified bourbon steward, which I want to put that on my business card. What does that designation mean, and what does it take to earn that?
I had to take class. It's not too hard. So there's a whiskey group in Tennessee. So I went and spent a couple days with them, and you just go through tasting notes. You learn how bourbon's made. Basically, they take you from grain all the way to bottling, and just kind of explain the process of how to make bourbon. So that was really fun, and the spirits are all the same. So the grains change, but how they produce spirits. So whether it's vodka or gin or or all the other different whiskeys with all the different types of grains, they're basically all made relatively the same. So that was a really fun time. Yes, I wrote that off on my taxes because it was business related, but it was a whole lot of fun. Me and a couple buddies went out there, and but more than anything, just starting to learn what it takes to appreciate the craft of making whiskey. There's a lot that goes in to that bottle, more so than people think. So being a bourbon steward is kind of like a sommelier. I can take you through tasting notes, teach you how to sip, how to enjoy whiskey, give you some of the background of how your whiskeys are made. And yeah, just again, I'm a nut. When I go into something, I don't go half. I'm all in. So it's just kind of the process.
I love that. And you mentioned Psalms on the wine side. I'm level 1 in the beer side as a certified beer server, which is no big deal. But I one day do want to become a certified Cicerone because I think it just makes sense. But back to your using that as a tax write-off, I see a lot of bottles on your wall. That's research. You should write those off too.
Okay, you can. I've actually gone and looked at the code. But if you do use it for business, it can only be drunk for business, and then you'd have to partially start to to say I drank this much of this bottle and it's worth. So I don't. Yeah. So the whiskey's just whiskey to me. I don't write that off.
Well, you're influencing me because I'm going to go buy a bottle of whiskey later today. We'll talk about which bottle I should get. But
Please do.
this is a golf podcast, by the way, for those that are listening at home that are
I'm a
like,
golf
wait a
coach
minute,
as well. I've been coaching golf for 30
we're
years.
45 minutes into this. We haven't talked about golf. You do work with golfers of all skill levels. Talk to me a little bit about that, where you're based, at what club, and kind of what work are you doing on the lesson tee?
All right. So I'm one of those weirdos. I'm a putting coach and a short game coach. I coached college golf, like I said, for close to 20 years. Started the Division 3 level and with the Division 2 level. Finished my last 11 years at the Division 1 level here in Charlottesville, Virginia, at the University of Virginia, on the women's side. So I'm still based here in Charlottesville. The pro staff at Birdwood Golf Course, it's part of the Boar's Head Resort, allows me to independent contract. So all I do is teach lessons, which is there's no better as an instructor, there's no better thing on earth. I don't have to worry about membership. I don't have to worry about selling shoes or any of that stuff. I only have a small group of people that come and hang out with me and learn golf. So I'm very blessed in that. But like I said, I've been coaching golf now for 30 years. Putting is probably my biggest passion. Short game kind of came after that. And really the putting part came about because I was coaching collegiately. The other head coach that I was working with was a really good swing coach. I thought I was a good swing coach. So we were both really good at one thing. So you know what our team was really good at? Hitting the golf ball. You know where our team was not very good? Around the green. So that was kind of about 20 years ago now. That was kind of my jettison out of full swing. And I was like, hey, I'm going to solve this putting thing in like a year. It's going to be easy. 20 years later, I'm still working on it, but I know it well, but it's still a tough cracker to for a lot of people to digest. But so yeah, I mainly do putting and short game, and I have people coming from all around. I've had the good fortune to work with touring professionals. At one point, I think I had 6 LPGA players. I've had a bunch of the mini tour guys, but I really deal with a lot of college and a lot of high end amateurs more than anything. A lot of college players still get a lot of referrals from a lot of college coaches. And yeah, working on the moss, just getting people to roll it better and putt less.
That's cool. And short game is something for the longest time, I was a pin hunter. I was going for every pin. I don't care if it's stuck in the back right corner. I'm trying to hit the pin. Now I'm just trying to hit the middle of the green. And putting has been something putting and short game have been strong suits of me for my whole career. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget, I was 16 years old and I walked into a golf shop in Terre Haute, Indiana, and I paid $99 for an Odyssey 2 ball. That putter, I can't believe I spent $100 on a golf club. That putter's still in my bag today. So
Yep.
I don't know if you suggest and recommend using the same putter for an entire career, but I don't care because I've tried other putters and they don't work. But let's talk plumb bob real quick. So
Yeah.
whether it works or it doesn't, and I think plumb bob and aim point are similar, and I don't know if Mark Sweeney would agree with me on that because he's the founder of aim point, and a lot of guys on tour, Adam Scott being one of the biggest names using it, but. What are your thoughts on plumb bob and have you used aim point?
I actually taught aim point. I was the highest U.S. instructor other than Mark. I walked away from aim point about 2 years ago. So I taught aim point for about 15 years. It works well. Plumb bob works in the fact that it will swing with gravity, but it doesn't give you a target where aim point's using a little bit of math and actually gives you a good target. Are either one of them perfect? No, but aim point gives you a realistically a really good point to aim at if you apply it correctly. But I would say plumb bob does work on understanding gravity. It breaks down a lot of times if you have a double breaker or it's only telling you where you're standing in that one moment. So what I've learned is like whiskey. If it works for you, roll with it. If you're making putts and it's working, I love it.
Well, and I use left hand low too. I remember I don't know how young I was. I heard Arnold Palmer say that if he could have done anything different in his career, he would have put his left hand low. And I've done that my entire career too, and I couldn't putt any other way. And I'll say this too, I'm getting the ball to the hole, and if it doesn't go in, it's going 3 feet past. So when
Yep.
I was playing high school and college golf, I had to make those. And if you want me to, I'll make them, but I'm picking them up now. And I'll even say during the summer when it's 110, 115 degrees out here, if you hit the green, pick it up, let's go. Like I ain't got
That's
time to line them up. So, what are your thoughts on gimmies? Are you making me grind out and putt them? Because I will.
it depends on the situation. If we're betting, I'm gonna make you work. If we're just out there for fun and we got the music playing in the golf cart, that's good. Pick it up. I'm fine with that. I think you need to adjust to the circumstances. That's kind of the funny part is if you ever go and play golf in Europe with the clubs over there, they're ultra serious on the golf course, but then they have a rip roar when they leave the golf course. In the United States, we're usually the exact opposite. We're having a blast on the golf course. And then when we go out afterwards, we're serious. I only got 30 minutes. I got to get home. This is kind of how, so it's kind of the exact opposite. So when you're playing golf in the States, a lot of times it's a little more fun unless you are, there's a true match going on. But in Europe, they're always doing a match, but they do it right after the match.
So let's talk about buying advice. I mean, where's the best place to go? Am I going to Bevmo and Total Wine, or am I going to a local shop? I'm going to spend more probably at a local shop, but where should somebody that's wanting to go get a good bottle of whiskey, where should they go buy?
That's a hard one because every state's different. California's laws are different than Virginia. Like Virginia is a state alcohol, so the state runs it, which is it's a crap shot. It's awful. So the state runs it. But then you have private people such as like California, Washington D.C., even Tennessee. Your Total Wine, your Costco's, they're going to get you some of the really good brands at a cheaper price, which I love. But I think a lot of times, I'm a big mom and pop kind of guy. Go in and start creating relationships is the best thing you can do. So if you do have a mom and pop, liquor store somewhere near you, get to know them. They're going to hook you up. Hey, we have something coming in really cool next week or whatever. So I think to me, I'm a big keep it local where you can. And then of course, if you need a good deal, I don't mind you going to a Total Wines or even the Costco brand whiskeys are not bad. I hate to say it. They actually make it for, they're just bottling it. It's made by an actual, distiller, but it's not bad stuff.
So when we're out there playing golf, we talked about music. Let's talk about that first. What are we listening to? And I'll tell you based on what you're listening to and what I'm listening to, a fun game that I like to play. And then are we drinking during the round or do we wait until the end? Or again, does it depend?
It all depends. Usually if I'm out with buddies, we're drinking during the round and we're probably having a cigar per nine. So there's going to be some, we all have flasks or some version of, and then we'll enjoy a good cigar. To me, I'm a singer songwriter kind of guy and country music. Go figure. Stuck in the Mid Atlantic. Those are probably my go-to. So I love kind of the country rock genre, and then again I love like a Paul Simon singer songwriter genre as well. So I'm kind of weird that way, but those are probably the tunes that I'm playing the most. But I'm willing to listen to about anything.
Well, until I tell you, I listen to techno and trance. So he doesn't live in California anymore, but one of my golf buddies, we used to play golf after work at 4 o'clock. I wouldn't play before 4, but I would go out and play at 4:01 after work. We'd go play 18 holes. We'd whip around in an hour and a half, 2 hours max. But we had a game where he liked death metal and I liked techno. So we would, on the first hole, we're not listening to anything.
Uh,
But whoever wins the hole gets to pick what we're listening to. And man, was that fun because it's every other hole sometimes, just having a blast. And then we kicked it up a notch. And then whenever you won the hole, whoever lost the hole got to pick the tee box. So like it
oh,
was just all kinds of wild fun out there, man. And it
that's
was
what, and that's what the golf's supposed to be. If you're playing in a tournament situation, it's tournament golf. But to me, it's make it fun. I hate going to a golf course and watching people be miserable because they're playing the wrong tees or they're, just it's like don't be miserable. You're paying money. You should be having a little bit of fun out here. So no, I kind of like that picking the music because my son and I play every weekend together. And then I'll usually be listening to music. So I'll start to challenge him. You can become the DJ if you beat me on this hole.
how can people join the GolfCask community? Is there a cost? Is it free to join? And how does somebody listening at home get involved? I mean, people that like golf, whiskey, cigars, a lot of cool stuff
Yeah.
here.
No, for 2026, we're free. And there's always going to be a free component. We'll start to create as we're upscaling our meetups and stuff, there will probably be a fee in the future. But as of 2026, we're just trying to get more people in the system utilizing it and growing us that way. So it's a great time to sign up. It is 100% free. It gives you access to everything we have, from the map to our video. We have a video platform with tons of stuff on golf, whiskey, and cigars. So there's tons of videos. We have a blog. I write a blog about every day on one of the three subjects. We do a quarterly magazine, which we call GolfCask Life, which I have 6 golf instructors from around the world writing instruction that you wouldn't get normally out of a golf magazine. It's not that same BS that they give you every year about how to get rid of your slice. So these are really high-end instructors giving you advice to really get you better at golf. And then I have distillers, and we have whiskey segments and stuff. We have that. We have challenges for our members. So everything that we do, we have the 19th hole, which is our community. All of that is yours for free. All I ask is your email.
Well, once someone joins, I mean, what kind of access, experiences, I mean, insight, I mean, what are members getting? You just kind of outlined it, but
Yeah, you get everything we talked about. Where I see this in the future, I want to have 10 to 20 really great events that will be circled around our 3 passions, that people from all over the world can come together. We're trying to set up a trip in Ireland next year. Of course, we do a bunch of stuff through the Mid-Atlantic. And then, of course, we'll travel everywhere around the U.S. We're also starting what we call whiskey golf trails this year. We're getting ready. I'm finishing right now, getting the last couple of distilleries booked. But the whiskey golf trails it'll be inside the golf system, inside of our video system. We start with a cigar. We call it a spark. Once we spark it, we match a whiskey to it. So we pair the two together. And then once we get the whiskey and the cigar pairing right, then we have to pair a golf course to that. And then we're going to call it the golf course, and we're going to take a bunch of people out there, and we're going to bring said cigar, said whiskey, go play golf together for the day. So that's going to be a big adventure. We're going to be doing that all throughout the U.S. And actually, I'll be in Ireland doing one of those as well this year. So, but yeah, more than anything, we have live meetups online. We have tons of content, and again, tons of way inside of the forum just to chat, talk whiskeys. We do have a ranking system inside, of course. Who doesn't? But we built it like the Rotten Tomatoes. So there's an expert panel of whiskey drinkers, and then there's the nation. So you get to compare how you view a whiskey with the nation. And then we have some data science built in there, which is really fascinating. So if there's a big discrepancy, it throws up all kind of warning signs and immediately throws it into our form. And people start chatting and talking trash and saying why you're wrong or why I'm right or whatever. So there's a lot of, camaraderie when it comes to that. So, and then again, kind of like you said, we do have what we call On My Radar. So if you're reading somebody's review, or if you're at a whiskey bar and you really like something, you can fire up the app and say, put this on my radar. I like it. I want it. I need it, or stay the hell away from it. So you do have the ability, when you do go through rank and test stuff, that you can be standing at your liquor store and go, what is that bottle that I wanted to try? And you could actually go to my radar and see what that is. Kind of your personal whiskey, cigar, golf course, personal assistant, I guess.
digging the logo, how many designs of that did you see before you picked that one?
It didn't take as long as I thought. Like golf and cask, we were going to bring it together, having the barrel and then it leaking out. I wanted to leak the actual shape of a true putting green and put a flag in it. It was just too much. So we pulled it out the leak and just put the golf ball at the very end. It worked out perfect. So honestly, it was much faster than I thought it was going to be. And then when I saw it, I go, that's it. I'm done. It's it. That's perfect. And the beauty of a cask is, we do mainly whiskey, but anything that is stored in a cask, we will probably be introducing that at one point. So yes, there's chance for beer. Yes, there's chance for wine. All those wonderful things that are stored in casks will probably be incorporated over time inside a golf cask.
You let me know when you get that beer piece, because if I were to show you my untapped stats, you need to sit down when I send you that screenshot, because
all right,
I'm a big fan of ticking beers and barrel-aged stouts. I don't care if it's the middle of the summer. My wife and I are obsessed with just big, chewy barrel-aged stouts. Talking about spending an hour or an hour and a half with a cigar. we can open up a bottle of beer and spend an hour, hour and a half with that. So
I
when you
love
get to
that.
those high ABV beers that are 10, 12, 15 plus percent, I mean, and you could take a bottle, I'll talk about Speedway Stout from AleSmith.
Mhm.
It's 12.99, 15.99 for a bottle, and ice cold through room temp is a 2.5 hour experience, and it changes every sip. And
I love that.
the best flavors at the end, but every sip along the way from cold to room temp. I mean, it's an experience.
That's what we're looking for in life, isn't it? It's those experiences that matters more important than what I paid or what internet guru said this thing was. That experience is what we're trying to achieve inside a golf cask. And I think most of us are trying to achieve in life because, it's really funny with my kids. I have three kids, they're all older. 24 is my oldest, 22 and 18. About 5 years ago, kind of when COVID hit, we said, hey, we're done buying presents. Like, we're not buying you a bunch of stuff that you love for a day and you're not going to use it. Like, we still get them clothes and stuff that they need. But from that point on, we're saying you get to do a family trip with, my son and I get to go do one family trip a year. And so each kid gets to pick a parent and we do an entire family group, but they get to pick one parent and do something. We're like, we want you to have an experience that you're going to remember. You're not going to remember that game or that shirt we bought you, but you will remember 20 years from now the time that Dad and I went to Ireland. I'm taking my son this year to Ireland because he graduated in high school. We're going to spend a week in Ireland playing golf. Like, you're going to remember that until I'm well gone from this earth, and you're going to be able to remember that experience. And I think I would say at our core inside of GolfCast, that's what we're really trying to build.
I'll tell you a beer story about experiences. So Untapped has badges that you can unlock for doing certain things. Sometimes it's drink an IPA on National IPA Day or drink this beer at this time at this location. I mean, it was a long time ago, but talking about experiences and remembering things, they had a set of 15 badges from Old Style, the
Uh-huh.
Chicago-based, like, I mean, Old Style, PBR, Bud Light, like they're all in that same bottom of the barrel. And we literally flew from the West Coast to Chicago, met up a buddy from Indiana, went around to these different neighborhoods. You had to drink the Old Style in the individual neighborhood to unlock the badge.
I
And
love
you
it.
like, come on, it was a fantastic weekend. We didn't just drink Old Style. We'd walk into these places, walk up to the bar, three of us standing there, hey, can I get one can of Old Style and three glasses? And these bartenders are like, are you crazy? Like, yeah, we are, because we just landed from the West Coast to drink
You
this
don't know
can
how
of Old
crazy
Style.
we really
Yeah,
are.
you don't understand. So that was an experience, right? Like getting on a boat and going across the channel to be able to go drink whiskey in Isla, Scotland. Like, I mean, yeah, that's cool, man.
And the experience is really important. If you want to be like, I always get a question, how do I become a better golfer? How do I become a better whiskey taster? It's experience. You've got to be able to put yourself in situations, and you've got to have those memories and those experiences access. So if you think of drinking bourbon, when I was a kid, we used to sit in the garage with an old wood, the churning ice cream things. You put Epsom salt in this wood barrel, and you sat there with a churner, and you just sat there and poured some vanilla, and you poured some cream in, and you made ice cream. That smell of vanilla, I will never, ever, ever forget. So when I put a whiskey to my nose and I get just a hint of vanilla, man, it takes me back to I'm like 10 years old in my garage in Virginia Beach, sitting there churning ice cream. So it's those memories and that experiences allows you to access flavors. So how do you become a better whiskey connoisseur, a sommelier, even inside the beer world? I've got to be able to put a memory to that flavor, and then I can access it. We as human beings have a really bad olfactory system. Our brain is ultra processed, like can process a lot, but our actual nodes for tasting is very small compared to like a rat. A rat's olfactory is 100 times better than what we could ever think of accomplishing, but they don't have the memory recall to say that reminds me of this, and I can pull that flavor note from a memory. They just pull it from when I smell this is what it is. So for us as humans to be better at tasting, having that memory, having that experience. I remember I was, in Chicago with buddies, and we had this beer, and I got this hint of this. Man, once you kind of lock that memory in, you will always be able to access that when you're tasting in the future. And golf's the same way, right? I had a chance to win and I blew it. I learned from it. I'm going to change these pieces around. Boom. Next time in that situation, I will overcome it opposed to falling up short. So those experiences are massive. And, so to me, I'm all about experiences. So if you can go experience something new, have a badge system where you go drink whiskeys or different, I think that's awesome. Like my friends and I would do that in a minute for a whiskey. Like we would literally jump on a plane or a car and drive 8 hours just to go do something cool like that.
I would do that for 3 ounces of a beer that was on my list. I'm not even kidding. Like I would literally drive 8 hours to get 3 ounces of a beer.
That's awesome. I mean, that's again, when you have a passion, feed it.
Or drink it.
Well, either way.
But,
Well, it's funny. I got a whiskey bottle from a group actually in Southern Cal. They're called Filmland. They're kind of they're blenders, so they're actually sourcing out and they're blending and making their own. But they're really cool. Their bottles really look like graphic art from like the Impossibles or kind of that old traditional. But the really cool thing about them, they call them adult cereal boxes. So each one of their bottles is called an adult cereal box, which I thought was absolutely brilliant.
have you ever made your own?
That's illegal.
I love how you take like 4 minutes to think about it before you decide how to answer it.
That's by law, you are not allowed to make spirits on your own. However, I have seen the process done and have enjoyed the process yes. So
what a politically correct answer.
But I've had really good moonshine.
Well, let's say that so I work here at the Springs Community Association in Rancho Mirage. Let's say that we wanted to do maybe a private barrel for our members. Is that something that GolfCask could help with? I mean, I could see a club coming to you saying, "Hey, what distillery do we use? What does that process look like?" I mean, how cool would it be to send 8, 10, 12 members to the distillery to be a part of that experience?
That is something we can definitely help you with contacts, be able to guide you through. So I actually have the good fortune that some golf courses will bring me in for tastings because I know a lot about golf. So we'll do like a golf outing during the day, and then we'll come out and do a tasting and kind of that component. But yeah, I would say if you guys are whiskey cultured enough, having your own private barrel is massive. I think for the members to be able to participate in it and for you to have your own bottle. I know at here inside of where I teach out of Birdwood, which is the Boar's Head Resort, they did a Maker's Mark. They did their own private barrel, which was really cool. It was actually, I'm not a huge Makers fan. I like Makers, but not a huge fan. But their private barrel was spot on, and they were able to take a couple members. I think, for me, just thinking membership wise and creating that camaraderie and to bring kind of some of that whiskey ethos into the club, I think it's a great way to do it.
How does a golf course become a GolfCask certified facility, and what does that designation represent?
Okay, so if you're a certified golf club, that means that a member inside a GolfCask has played it and said that it's worth playing again. So again, inside of our community system, so if somebody's played the golf course and they say, "Hey, I really like it," if it's a GolfCask member, you can immediately be certified. If it's a newer member, we might ask some questions and do some research on it. But basically, it's saying that the community, it's not a ranking. So don't think of it as a ranking system. We have a ranking system that's separate. But this is just saying, hey, our community says I would come back to this. So to be a certified club, somebody inside of our community would have to play it and say, yeah, I'd play it again. It was worth it. And then from that, we have our poor decisions where we rank everything. So for us, we don't want to ever send anybody to a club that we've never seen, right? We're not going to sell opportunity like, oh, certify us and we'll give you the X. We don't care. No, we're a community, we're club based. So we want to make sure that when we send members anywhere around the world to enjoy a cigar, a golf course, or a good whiskey, we want to make sure that that pub or that golf course is worth going to. And that's how we certify. So again, it's community based more than anything.
I enjoy cigars, but I mean, like 1, maybe 2 a year. Like I'm not a smoker, but for someone that's new to cigars, what advice would you give to getting started and maybe smoking their first one in the process to finding a good stick?
I think finding a good stick, to me, mirrors golf as well. I would say most people don't enjoy cigars because they do it wrong, because their rhythm and smoking a cigar is wrong. And the reason you suck at golf more times than not is your rhythm inside of the golf swing is wrong. So once you kind of figure out the rhythm, like again, a Robusto cigar, a Viola 55 inches long, should take you 40 minutes to smoke. I mean, where most people go wrong is they smoke it way too fast, way too hard, and it's just bitter and not enjoyable. So getting that rhythm correct, I think, is more important than anything. So most puffs should be about 30 to 45 seconds. You put it down, 30 to 45 seconds later, you're taking another puff, and you're kind of going through the steps that way. Cigar smoking is very, very enjoyable, but most people just rush it. They rushing to get to the ball, and they have this huge slice because they're coming over the top because everything's moving incorrectly because they're moving so fast in the areas where you should be moving slow. Cigars are the same way. And then again, the beauty of cigars, whiskey, and golf is you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a really, really good cigar. You can get an $8 stick that is absolutely spectacular. So again, just appreciating for what it is. And again, I'm not the hugest cigar guy. We talk about ratios inside of GolfCask. Like, I'm probably 40 golf, 40 whiskey, 20 cigars. I probably smoke 1 to 2 cigars a week. Nothing crazy. I have some buddies that smoke 2 a day, every day for 7 days a week, every month. Like, that's what they do. But I think anything is, again, it's just the appreciation for it, slowing down and understanding what the cigar wants. Like, what does a golf course want from you to be able to play well? The cigar is the same way. You've got to be able to understand the cigar and treat it correctly. And if you do it, it's spectacular. I always say, if you wake up from a cigar night and you have this terrible taste in your mouth, you did it wrong. You smoked the cigar all wrong, and it's kind of made you pay for it.
What is the challenge series, and how did that concept come together?
Yeah, that was actually one of my buddies. When we come together for blind tastings, we as golfers, everything's a competition, right? Everything's a competition. And inside of our tastings, it's the same way. So we were sitting there one night and we were smoking cigars, and we're like, all right, who can get the longest ash? So we're all sitting there with the same cigar, and we're like smoking like upside down, trying to grow our ash as high as we can get it. And then we started just competing every time we got together. And one of the guys goes, why aren't you doing this for the members? And I was like, that's a good question. I don't know why. So the challenge series came about as we have a cigar, a whiskey, a golf, an adventure, and a community challenge for the month, where that gives our membership the ability to compete against everybody in the system, perform a task, go put it in our form, and start talking crap. And it's pretty fun. So it's just, again, if you think about it, if you and a bunch of buddies were together, what would you guys be doing? We're just doing that inside of the group. So I know in February, February's already here. We were doing how slow can you smoke a Robusto, teaching you to slow down. But we're also taking that time through everything. So we're doing putting skills, how to learn to control 10 feet with time and length of putting stroke. And then we're doing inside of whiskey with time, we're tasting same whiskey, different ages, and to see what the age does, how time affects a whiskey. So each month we typically have a theme, and then, each one involves that. And then adventure is, because the weather here in the Mid-Atlantic is so bad, it's go to a pub you've never been and have a whiskey you never had. And the community is find time this month to get together with your buddies and do something different with one of the passions. So they're fun, achievable. We don't ever want to make it a burden, but it's just a lot of fun to create that interaction and really start to see how well people can actually perform at these passions.
You are crushing it on Instagram. Who is managing all of that content, and what is your secret to growing and engaging that audience, man? Well done.
It's me. 50-year-old fat guy on the socials. It was hard in the beginning because I hated I'm an introvert at heart. I've learned to be extroverted when the camera comes on, but I'm in the basement for 3 to 5 days and I don't talk to anybody. I actually enjoy that. But being a content creator now, it's, I've gotten to the point where I've learned my group well enough and what I enjoy that now it's meshing together with fun little whiskey tidbits, fun little golf tidbits, and then some longer form stuff as well. But yeah, no, it's me, 50-year-old guy trying to figure out social medias it's funny.
Well, you're doing good, so keep it up. I love it.
Appreciate it.
That guy. Come on. That might be a handle. Instagram.com.
That is a good handle.
50-year-old fat guy.
Maybe I said that. I was like, oh, how can I?
Where's the best place for those listening at home to learn more about you and everything that's happening over at GolfCask?
Yeah, you can always go to golfcast.com. Everything's there. We do lots of fun stuff. I have a group that meets up once every Wednesday. I have a sports psychology guy, myself, and another golf coach, and we talk kind of the intricacies of being better at golf. And we actually take callers in and chats through that group, so you can join us live through GolfCask. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram. Those are the main ones I focus on. I'm in the other ones somewhat, I guess, but I would say Instagram or YouTube mainly, and of course everything inside of GolfCast. I'm really easy to find.
Well, I would love to bring GolfCask to the Springs, but I mean, what's the best way to introduce your brand to our members?
I think the Greens and Grain Society is brilliant because it's free right now, and like I said, quarterly. I just did a series called Legends. There's the Richmond Golf Club in the UK, which is phenomenal, right? So during World War II, Blitzkrieg is happening. This golf course decided to stay open, and it made wartime rules. So it had 7 rules. If basically there's shrapnel in the way or unexploded bombs, you got free relief. If a bomb went off during your backswing, you would actually get a second shot. It was just absolutely hilarious on what they were able to accomplish and compete in as war was going on around them. So one of our first Greens and Grains meetup is going to be based off of that. We're going to talk scotches because it's Scotland, UK. Okay, they're not exactly the same, but they're the same. So we're going to do some scotch tastings. We're going to talk about the Richmond Golf Club and how absolutely brilliant they were, and then the way that they were able to restructure their ritual to bring sanity to an insane time of the world. And then we'll introduce a Churchill cigar. So basically what we would do is give you the tools and the understanding to be able to present that to your group. We'll give you all the paperwork, and then you figure out what your group likes. Well, maybe our group doesn't like cigars, so we won't introduce the Churchill cigar part. Maybe here's a couple flights of scotches. Well, this group doesn't like the peated or whatever, and then we can move some things around. But really what we want to do with the Greens and Grain and with any group that wants to kind of bring that into their club is give you the format to be able to provide an experience for your membership to enjoy these passions, and again, give your club a reason to bring people together to come enjoy, maybe the restaurant a little bit more often, to be able to provide some more activities for the membership and be able to help us grow our brand of whiskey, golf, and cigars. So yeah, if you want it, man, I'll send you the paperwork. I just finished up the paperwork. I'm just waiting for the lawyers to say, let's go.
We have covered a lot of stuff today, actually more whiskey than golf. That's
Yeah.
okay because golf is in the name of your brand. So that's how I'm going to sneak this through. It is
Yeah.
my podcast though. And I like whiskey and golf. It all makes sense. What questions am I not asking? What have we not covered that you want to share with us today?
I think you did a really good job. Like I said, I'm, just figure out, like I said, if golf, whiskey, or cigars or anything you enjoy, GolfCask is here for you. All are patient driven, all are time consuming, but again, that's what we need in our lives. So I encourage all of you to be able to have that time, once a month, once every 3 months, where you're able to hit the pause button, slow down, and just take everything in. And again, if you can enjoy a good whiskey, a good cigar, a great round of golf, man, life doesn't get much better than that.
What's next for you and GolfCask?
We got 5 big builds going on right now. We have a recommender system that's coming online not too long from now. I'm starting to talk to golf courses. Like I said, I want to create all these little golf, Greens and Grain Society, start bringing them together, start having southerly competitions, Southwest, Northwest, Northeast, start to create these little bundles. And where I really see this is going to be a Ryder Cup event all around the world. We're going to have different sections. People are going to compete. And then we're going to have a blowout somewhere in the world with the best spirits on earth, the best cigars, and the best golf courses. So there's a lot of really cool stuff coming. It's just, I'm a one-man show right now. We'll see what I can accomplish.
Let you and me tee it up soon. So I usually just say when and where. So where are we playing? What are we drinking? And what are we smoking?
All right. I love a links course. I love Parkland. But I love a good links course. So we definitely have to tee it up on something linksy. Doesn't have to be true links, but it's got to have kind of that links flair. So if we're coming out to Southern Cal, well, there's some good ones. Uh, you know, what are we drinking? It really depends on what you like. Uh, I'm a pleaser. So you tell me what type of whiskey. Are you a Scotch? Are you a bourbon? Are you a rye guy, an Irish guy? We would definitely figure that out. And then who are we playing with? Anybody that enjoys our passions.
When you headed this way, like let's go. It's the middle of season right now, like the busiest time of the year, but I got
I
a
actually
Saturday
have
or a Sunday.
I have a really really good buddy that I visit every once in a while. He lives in what is the beach that starts with an H? Um,
I don't know, the whole state's covered on him on the left side.
honey, honey,
Huntington Beach. All right.
yes, he lives in
Yeah.
Huntington Beach. I usually try to visit him, and he's part of a whiskey group that we do online. So, yeah, if you want to make it happen, I'll get out there.
Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers.
Yeah.
What book are you currently reading?
I just finished a book called Proof. It is the science of spirits, but a lot of it is about whiskey. I just finished that, and I'm getting ready to kick off. I found this book when I was in Ireland last year. It's about the history of Ireland and Irish whiskey. So I'm reading that, and I've actually just opened up again it's been a while since I've read it. What is the oh God, well, I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm getting old. Golf shoot. It's one of the golf geometry books. Can't think of it right now. So I'm actually going back and rereading. I don't do a lot of full swing stuff, but my son, I still help a little bit with full swing, and I just making sure I'm getting all this right. But more than anything, I've been reading a lot of whiskey books. There's not a whiskey that I don't really understand anymore. I know all the scotches. I know where they came from. Kind of the backstory of all the big distillers. I've learned from how Irish whiskey almost died. How the pot still, they were so stubborn with pot still that the column still about killed the Irish whiskey market, but they survived. So I would say more than anything, I've been reading more of anything is on the whiskey side than I have been reading golf lately. I don't know. I'm getting old. Whiskey's more exciting to me.
Who is in your dream foursome? Anybody, alive or dead? And where are you playing? Anywhere in the world?
Uh, I would say I would definitely bring my dad back. We played a lot of golf when I was growing up together. I would definitely have my son with me, and then probably Freddie Couples. I've been a Freddie Couple fan my whole life. I would love to walk around with him in his 300 different woods and just enjoy around with him. But having my dad and my son together, and I would say we would definitely. I would definitely take it probably over to Ireland. Irish golf to me is just so much fun. If you've never played in Ireland, you got to go at least once in your life and really play true links golf. It's so much fun.
Fun fact about Freddie, I named a golf course he designed once and got the chance to spend some time with him on the day that golf course opened. So pretty fun. And another fun fact about him, he's a germaphobe and doesn't do handshakes, only fist bumps.
That's fine. I'm fine.
Fine, fist bumps, let's go. Yeah,
That's fine. He's going to do more laughing than anything. Really? You're a golf coach? Really? Shut up.
So I didn't tell you this. We've been talking for a little bit here. I am Tiger's biggest fan. So we've become real quick friends here. So I need you to be careful how you answer this. But he's tied with Sam Snead, 82 official PGA Tour wins.
Oh.
Do you think he gets one more before he retires?
3 years ago, maybe. It's going to be hard. We're not talking senior tour, right?
Nope, has to be PGA Tour. Now let me put a caveat on that. Just a
All
couple of weeks ago, I got a report from somebody that was with him at the Grove in Florida, And they commented and said he looks better and healthier than he's ever looked,
Yeah.
and he's got a 5 mile an hour ball speed faster than it was 10 years ago.
Nice.
And he's 50 years old. I don't know. I'm just saying he's 50. I don't think he's done.
In my gut, I want to say yes, but my brain is probably saying it's. Now I got a caveat again. Live Tour might help. Again, with the factions being broken, I think in the right event, I think it. Yeah, God, it's hard. Gut, yes. Brain saying no, but I think again with the live, getting the right event with the right field, it could be possible. I guess I'll never say never.
Especially if I give you one more shot of whiskey, will that help change your mind?
And maybe depends on what type. but I'll never say no to Tiger. I'm gonna tell you right now, he's been written off enough. We'll see.
Step into the heart of Scotland with Eden Mill Scotland Experiences. Journey through the art of craft distilling, where tradition meets innovation. From blending your own gin to savoring the finest whiskeys, every moment is a celebration of Scotland's rich heritage. Whether you're a whiskey enthusiast, a gin lover, or simply an adventurer at heart, Eden Mill offers experiences you'll never forget. Book your journey today and create memories to last a lifetime.
In golf, the 19th hole is a slang term for a bar or a restaurant on or near the golf course, very often in the clubhouse itself. There are a lot of good ones. There are a lot of things you could be sipping on, but what is your favorite 19th hole and what are you drinking?
It's going to be whiskey. It's going to be neat. Unless it's really, really hot outside, then maybe I might put ice cube in it just to bring the temperature down. But more than that, it's going to be whiskey. It's going to be neat, and it's going to be a cigar that pairs well with it. And so if I could be sitting on a back stoop somewhere with a cigar and a neat whiskey and my foursome, man, that's like I said, that's good stuff right there. What would it be? Probably a rye whiskey or bourbon.
Thank you so much for doing this. What a fun conversation. I mean, you're blending whiskey and golf and cigars and travel. I mean, it's just awesome. I mean, just keep up the great work, and I hope that you and I get the chance to tee it up soon. And I guess my only question is, what whiskey are we drinking?
Well, do you like rye? Are you a good rye whiskey fan? Or are you a bourbon fan? Or are you a Scotch? You're a Scotch guy, right?
The answer is yes. What is the question?
Well, we'll do a Scotch, and I'll bring a flight out. We'll do 4 different Scotches, and we'll spread them out throughout the day. So as the round is going, we'll kind of roll with it. So we'll hit 4 of the 5 Scotch areas, which would probably be Speyside, Islay, Highlands, and maybe Lowlands. I kind of like Glen-Scotia, so we'll do the Lowlands. So we'll hit 4 of the 5, and we'll kind of see how the round goes and see where the Scotch takes us.
That puts this instalment of the Wednesday Match Play podcast in the books. But we'll be back next week for another exciting episode of the show.